My name is Bridget Sinclair. I'm 38 years old. Last Thanksgiving, my sister slapped me across the face in front of 25 relatives, hard enough to leave a handprint, and my mom looked me dead in the eyes and said, "Say sorry or get out now." My dad didn't speak. He just walked to the front door, opened it, and stood there holding it like I was a stranger who'd overstayed her welcome. I walked out into the November cold without a single word. No goodbye, no tears, nothing. By 8 a.m. the next morning, my family woke up to a world they didn't recognize. And honestly, neither did I. If you're watching this, please subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. Now let me take you back to last November, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, when I pulled into my parents' driveway for the last time. The drive from Hartford to my parents' place in Ridgefield, Pennsylvania, takes about 3 hours if the turnpike cooperates. I pull in around 4 in the afternoon, the trunk loaded with catering trays I ordered from a restaurant near my office. Turkey, sides, desserts, the full spread. I've been paying for Thanksgiving dinner for 6 years running. Nobody asked me to stop. Vanessa's car is already in the driveway. When I walk through the side door, she's standing in the kitchen arranging a cheese board like she's hosting a segment on morning television. Mom is right behind her, adjusting the napkin rings. "There she is," Mom says, barely looking up. "Put the food on the counter." No hug. No, "How was the drive?" Just directions. Vanessa waves a cracker at me. "You're late." I'm not late. I told them 4 o'clock. It's 4:07. I start unloading the trays, and that's when I hear Mom talking to Aunt Colleen in the living room. "Vanessa's been here since noon. She handles everything for us, you know." I look around the kitchen, the new quartz countertops I paid for last spring, the recessed lighting I wired the electrician's deposit on, the back door with the glass insert. Me. All me. Not a single person in this house has ever said, "Bridget paid for that." It's always, "We finally got around to updating the kitchen." I set the last tray down and notice an envelope on the edge of the counter near the toaster. It's from First Heritage Bank, the lender on my parents' second mortgage. The envelope is sealed, but the flap is slightly peeled at the corner like someone opened it and resealed it. I pick it up, turn it over. My fingers want to tear it open. "Don't touch that." Vanessa is behind me. "That's Mom and Dad's mail." I put it down, but I don't forget it. I should tell you about Grandma May. She raised me more than my parents did, and that's not an exaggeration. When I was 6, Dad picked up a second shift at the plant, and Mom started cleaning houses on weekends. Vanessa was 2, still a baby. So I went to Grandma May's, every morning before school, every afternoon until dark. She taught me how to read a budget, how to shake someone's hand, how to tell the difference between being kind and being used. When I was 22, I sat beside her hospital bed and held her hand. The monitors beeped in a slow rhythm that I still hear sometimes when a room gets too quiet. She looked at me, clear-eyed, even at the end, and said, "Keep them together, Bertie. They don't know how." I promised. For 16 years, I've kept that promise. I co-signed the second mortgage on my parents' house when the first one wasn't enough to cover repairs. $127,000. I put down the deposit for Vanessa's nail salon. $40,000. I've sent $1,200 a month to cover Mom's medical copays and Dad's supplemental insurance. Every single month, for 8 years. You can do the math. It's over $300,000. And I never asked for a receipt. Never asked for a thank you card. I did it because Grandma May asked me to hold this family together, and I thought money was the glue. Here's the thing nobody in my family knows I think about. I'm a co-signer on that second mortgage. My name is on the deed. It's right there in black and white at the county recorder's office. I didn't think that detail mattered. It was about to matter more than anything. Wednesday evening. The house fills up fast. Aunt Colleen's family, Uncle Ray and his wife, the Petersons from across the street, everyone funneling through the front door with casserole dishes and bottles of wine. 20-some people by 7 o'clock, and the house smells like cinnamon and roasted garlic. Dad is on the recliner, remote in hand, watching the pregame. He nods when I walk past. That's it, a nod. I've driven 3 hours. Mom pulls Vanessa around the living room like a show pony. You all know my Vanessa, running her own business now. She's doing so well. Vanessa smiles, tosses her hair, tells everyone about the salon's new gel line. She makes it sound like she's expanding. I happen to know the salon has lost money 3 months straight because I've seen the statements. They crossed my desk when I was handling the loan paperwork. Aunt Colleen's daughter asks me what I do. Before I can answer, Mom cuts in. Oh, Bridget works up north. Some office job. Some office job. I'm the director of business development for a commercial construction firm. I manage projects worth more than this house and every house on this block combined. But sure, some office job. Aunt Ruthie, Dad's older sister, 68, silver hair, quiet eyes, is sitting in the corner chair. She catches my gaze and shakes her head. Just barely. A millimeter of movement. But I see it. She sees me. Later, in the hallway near the bathroom, Vanessa grabs my arm. Her grip is tight. Her voice is a whisper, but her tone is a command. Don't mention the loan. I told Mom it's paid off. I stare at her. It's not paid off. Just smile and stay out of my way. That's all you have to do. She walks away. I stand in the hallway alone. Let me lay out the numbers, because numbers don't lie and families do. Second mortgage on my parents' house, $127,000. I co-signed. I've made every payment for 8 years. Kitchen renovation, $34,000. New roof after the ice storm 2 winters ago, $18,000. Vanessa's nail salon deposit, $40,000. Mom's medical copays and Dad's supplemental insurance, $1,200 a month for 8 years. That's $115,000, give or take. Grand total, north of $330,000. I'm sitting on the pull-out couch in the den Wednesday night, listening to the house settle around me. Everyone else went to bed an hour ago. I'm doing what I always do after a visit, running the mental ledger, wondering why I keep writing checks to people who treat me like furniture. I didn't do it for gratitude. I did it for Grandma May. But here's the part that keeps me up tonight. Vanessa told Mom and Dad that the financial help came from the family savings, some vague, collective pot that doesn't exist. She repackaged my money as everyone's money. She erased me from the equation so she could stand in the kitchen and take credit for a house she's never put $1 into. And my parents never questioned it. Not once. Because questioning it would mean admitting their younger daughter hasn't contributed anything, and their older daughter, the one who left, has been keeping them afloat. Easier to believe the lie. I roll onto my side and stare at the wall. The baseboards are new. I paid for those too. Somewhere in this house, there's an envelope from First Heritage Bank with information I don't have yet, and Vanessa doesn't want me to see it. That should tell me everything. Thanksgiving morning. I'm up at 6 before anyone else. Old habit. Grandma May used to say the person who starts the coffee owns the day. The kitchen is cold. Gray light through the window. I fill the pot, hit brew, and lean against the counter while it drips. That's when I see it again. The envelope. Same spot, near the toaster. But this time it's been opened, the flap torn clean. And it's not on the counter anymore, it's in the recycling bin, half buried under a cereal box. I shouldn't look. I look. The torn flap is facing up. Through the opening, I can see the top of a document. Bold header, deed transfer notification. My pulse jumps. I pull out my phone. Not to document anything, just reflex. The way you photograph a fender bender before your brain catches up to what happened. I snap one picture of the header, just the header. Then I shove the envelope back under the cereal box. Deed transfer. On a property I co-signed. My hands are shaking, not from the cold. I hear footsteps on the stairs. I slide my phone into my back pocket and grab a potato peeler from the drawer. When Mom walks in, I'm standing at the sink with a 5-pound bag of russets. You're up early, she says. She's in her bathrobe, hair still pinned from last night. Good. Peel the potatoes. Already started. She doesn't say thank you. She doesn't ask how I slept. She pours herself coffee from the pot I made and shuffles to the table with yesterday's crossword. I peel potatoes and think about that document. Deed transfer notification. It could be routine, a refinance update, a tax adjustment. It could be nothing. But Vanessa told me not to touch that envelope. And Vanessa never cares about nothing. I peel the last potato and drop it into the pot. The water splashes and settles. I stare at the gray skin curling off the blade. If my name was removed from that deed, And I don't know that it was. But if, then I've been paying $127,000 into a house I no longer have a legal claim to. That's not a disagreement. That's theft. But it gets worse. If Vanessa put her name on the deed and used the equity I built to open a new line of credit, a HELOC, a second lien, anything, then I could be on the hook for debt I didn't authorize. My credit score, my borrowing power, my professional reputation. Staying silent isn't peace. Staying silent is a signature on a blank check. But it's Thanksgiving, and I hear people moving upstairs, car doors shutting in the driveway. The Petersons are early. Aunt Ruthie's voice in the hallway, warm and scratchy. I had two choices: keep peeling potatoes or start peeling back the lies. I dry my hands on the towel. I choose peace, for now. Because Grandma May's voice is louder than my suspicion, and I've spent 16 years honoring the woman who raised me. One more day isn't going to break me. Bridget, get the good china from the hutch, Mom calls from the dining room, and make sure Vanessa's place setting is by Dad. Of course it is. I carry the plates to the table, 25 settings. I count my own and place it at the far end, near the kitchen door, the seat closest to the exit. Vanessa walks in, freshly done up, heels clicking on the hardwood I refinished. She doesn't look at me. She looks past me. "What's wrong with you?" she says. "You look like someone died." She laughs. Gerald passes through the room without a word. The table stretches wall to wall. Mom brought out the leaf extension and pushed the couch back to make room. 25 chairs, dining chairs, folding chairs, the piano bench. Every seat filled. Dad sits at the head, Mom beside him, Vanessa and Derek on his other side, front and center. I'm at the far end, wedged between Aunt Ruthie and a cousin's husband whose name I can never remember. Mom taps her glass. "Vanessa, would you like to say grace?" Vanessa stands. She folds her hands. She closes her eyes just long enough for it to look spiritual. "Thank you, Lord, for this family. Thank you for Mom and Dad and everything they do for us. Thank you for Derek, for standing by me. Thank you for everyone at this table." Everyone. A word that technically includes me but functionally doesn't. "Amen," the room says. I look down at my plate. Aunt Ruthie's hand finds mine under the table. She squeezes once. The food circulates: turkey platter, mashed potatoes, cranberry sauce. Voices stack on top of each other. Someone's kid spilled juice. Uncle Ray is arguing about the Eagles' defensive line. The Petersons brought a pumpkin pie that nobody asked for. I eat. I smile when someone talks to me. I pass the gravy. But I'm watching Vanessa. She's at the center of every conversation. She laughs too loud. She touches Mom's arm. She tells a story about a customer at the salon, and the whole table leans in. And she keeps glancing at me. Quick, sharp glances, like she's checking whether I'm still in my seat, whether I'm staying quiet. I take a sip of water and meet her eyes across the table. She looks away first. After dinner, the table fragments. Some people drift to the living room. Kids scatter to the basement. The men collect around the TV. I'm carrying plates to the kitchen when I hear Vanessa's voice rise over the chatter. She's in the living room, perched on the arm of the sofa, holding her right hand out like she's modeling for a catalog. "Mom gave it to me last week," she's saying. "Isn't it gorgeous?" I stop in the doorway. I know that ring. Oval sapphire, thin gold band, a tiny nick on the setting where Grandma May caught it on a garden fence in 1987. She used to let me try it on when I was little. It swallowed my finger every time. Grandma May told me that ring was mine. She said it in front of Mom. She said it the summer before she died. "Where did you get that?" My voice comes out flatter than I intend. Vanessa smiles. "Mom gave it to me. She said Grandma would have wanted me to have it." I look at Mom. Mom nods. "Vanessa's here every day. She deserves it." The room goes quiet. That particular quiet where everyone pretends they didn't hear something heavy. Aunt Colleen studies her wineglass. Uncle Ray coughs. Derek is sitting in the corner. He's watching me. His jaw is tight. He looks like a man holding a secret he doesn't want. "Okay," I say. One word. I turn and walk back to the kitchen with the plates still in my hands. I set them in the sink. The water runs. I watch it fill around the china. The good china. The china Grandma May picked out for this house. "Okay," was all I had. because the alternative was a truth that would have split that room down the middle, and I wasn't ready for that. Not yet. Vanessa follows me into the living room 20 minutes later. The dishes are done. I'm standing near the fireplace talking to Aunt Ruthie about her garden, trying to feel normal. Vanessa settles into the center of the couch and starts telling stories. Old stories, childhood stories, the kind that sound funny if you weren't there. Remember when Bridget cried at her science fair because nobody came? She's looking at the room, not at me. She made this whole volcano, and then sobbed when Mom had to work. She always needed so much attention. I feel the blood rise in my neck. That's not how it happened. Vanessa tilts her head. See? Still so sensitive. Bridget, don't start. Mom's voice from the armchair. Sharp. Final. Not today. Girls, enough. Dad, from the recliner, eyes still on the screen. But his enough doesn't land on Vanessa. It lands on me. It always lands on me because I'm the one who responds. Vanessa never has to stop because nobody ever tells her to start. She keeps going. Another story. Another revision of history where she's the responsible one and I'm the fragile one. The room listens. A few people laugh nervously. Most look at their drinks. Then she leans forward, voice sweet as caramel, and says, I just want us to be a family. Is that so hard for you? 25 people in that room. Not one of them heard me. Not one of them heard how the word family sounded coming from a woman wearing my dead grandmother's ring while sitting in a house I pay for. Aunt Ruthie catches my eye. She mouths 2 words. Not here. I clench my jaw. I nod. But the air in the room has changed. And Vanessa knows it. I can see it in the way she won't stop talking. The way people talk when they're trying to drown out something they're afraid of. I need water, that's all. I need a glass of water and 2 minutes where nobody is looking at me. I stand up from the fireplace. The living room is packed. Bodies in every chair, kids on the floor, coats piled on the piano bench. The only path to the kitchen cuts between the coffee table and the back of the sofa where Vanessa is holding court. I turn sideways to squeeze through. My shoulder brushes hers. Barely. The kind of contact that happens 100 times at any family gathering, the kind you don't even register. Vanessa registers it. She goes still. Mid-sentence. Mid-laugh. The room notices. The way a room always notices when the loudest person stops making noise. She turns her head, slow, her eyes lock onto mine. I see it coming. The way her jaw sets, the way her right hand lifts off the armrest. I see all of it, and my body doesn't move because my brain refuses to believe what's about to happen. Not here. Not in front of everyone. Not over a shoulder brush. But I'm wrong. The room holds its breath. 25 people. Forks paused mid-air. Conversations cut dead. Even the TV seems quieter. Vanessa's hand is in the air. Her eyes are black and flat. And I'm standing there, glass of water forgotten, watching my younger sister cock her arm back in a room full of family. I want to tell you I was ready, that I saw it coming and braced myself. But the truth is, I just stood there, the way you stand at the edge of something you've been falling toward your whole life, and you finally feel the ground disappear. The next 3 seconds changed everything. I'm standing there, and I can feel it coming. You know that feeling, when the room shifts, and you know something is about to happen, but you can't stop it? Right now I need you to hit that subscribe button and drop a comment. Have you ever been the person your family blames no matter what you do? Tell me. Because I need to know I'm not the only one. Now let me tell you what happened next. But before I tell you about the slap, and I will, every detail, I need to rewind 30 minutes. To what happened in the bathroom. After Vanessa's little performance with the childhood stories, I excused myself, walked down the hallway, locked the bathroom door, and sat on the edge of the tub with my phone. Not to hide, to breathe, and to check my email, because that's what I do when I need to feel like myself. I work. 3 unread messages, 2 from colleagues, holiday pleasantries. The 3rd from Marcus Webb. Marcus is a real estate attorney I've worked with for years on commercial deals. Smart, thorough, the kind of man who uses periods in text messages and never sends an emoji. I'd emailed him that morning, before the drive, before the potatoes, before any of this, with the photo of the deed transfer header I'd taken from the recycling bin. Just a photo with a two-line message. This is my parents' property. I'm co-signer on the second mortgage. Can you look into this? His reply, time-stamped 3:47 p.m. Got your email about the property. Something doesn't look right. Call me Monday. Marcus doesn't say something doesn't look right unless the ground is moving under you. I've worked with him on 12 transactions. He's measured, precise. If he's concerned, I should be concerned. A second message, sent 4 minutes later. Don't sign anything. Don't agree to anything. Call me Monday. 2 messages. No pleasantries. No happy Thanksgiving. Just instructions. I stared at the screen until the backlight dimmed. Then I splashed water on my face, unlocked the door, and walked back toward the living room. I didn't know what Marcus had found, but I knew the shape of it. The way you know a storm is coming before you see the clouds, you feel the pressure drop. I step into the hallway and nearly collide with Derek. He's standing alone, leaning against the wall opposite the bathroom, arms crossed. His tie is loosened. His face looks like a man who's been arguing with himself and losing. Bridget. His voice is low, almost a whisper. I want you to know, I told her not to do it. I stop. Do what? He opens his mouth, closes it. His eyes dart toward the living room, where Vanessa's laugh cuts through the noise like a siren. Derek, Vanessa's voice, sharp. Get in here! He flinches, actually flinches. Then he looks at me, straight on, no blinking, and says, just check your mail when you get home. The real mail, not email, the stuff in your mailbox. Derek, now! Vanessa again. He pushes off the wall, pauses. I'm sorry, he says. Then he's gone, rounding the corner into the living room where Vanessa is waiting for him, the way a dog waits for a squirrel. I stand in the hallway. The bathroom faucet drips behind me. A kid runs past toward the basement, sneakers squeaking on the hardwood. Check your mail. Derek knows something, and whatever he knows, it scared him enough to warn me, but not enough to say it out loud. That tells me 2 things. The information is serious, and Vanessa is the reason he can't share it. I pull out my phone. Marcus's message is still on the screen. Don't sign anything. And now Derek. Check your mail. 2 men, 2 warnings, neither willing to give me the full picture. I slip the phone back into my pocket. My fingers brush against the edge of my car keys. For the first time all day, I think about driving home. Just getting in the car and going. But Grandma May's voice holds me in place. 1 more hour. Just 1 more. Mom wants a photo. Of course she does. She wants one every year, and every year she orchestrates it like a Broadway director working with community theater actors. Everyone by the fireplace. Gerald, center. Vanessa, right here next to me. Derek, behind Vanessa. Ruthie, on the end. People shuffle into place. The fire crackles. Someone's kid is crying in the basement. Uncle Ray holds up the phone camera and tries to figure out the timer. Bridget, stand in the back. I step behind the second row. I can see the top of Mom's head in front of me, Vanessa's highlighted hair, Derek's stiff shoulders. Aunt Ruthie reaches back and tugs my sleeve, pulling me forward. Come up here, honey. You're hidden. Ruthie, you're blocking Vanessa. Mom doesn't even turn around. Ruthie lets go of my sleeve. She gives me a look, the kind that says, I'm sorry, and I see you at the same time. Say Thanksgiving, Uncle Ray calls. The shutter clicks. I'm at the edge of the frame, half cut by the border. 1 foot in, 1 foot out. The perfect metaphor for my place in this family. I think about the last photo with Grandma May. Christmas, 16 years ago. She stood in the center. I was tucked under her arm. She smelled like lavender and brown sugar. In that photo, I'm grinning so wide my eyes are almost shut. I belonged somewhere in that frame. Not anymore. The crowd breaks apart. People check the photo on Uncle Ray's phone. Oh, that's a good one. Look at the kids in front. Nobody says, where's Bridget? Because Bridget is barely visible, and nobody notices what they've trained themselves not to see. That was the last family photo I would ever be in. I didn't know it then, but looking back, the frame was already broken. Now you're caught up. I'm standing in the gap between the coffee table and the sofa. My shoulder has just brushed Vanessa's. A nothing touch. The kind that happens when 25 people share 1,200 square feet of living room. Vanessa's hand connects with my face before I finish my next breath. The sound is sharper than I expected. Not a thud, a crack. Open palm, full swing, right across my left cheek. My head snaps sideways. My ear rings. I taste something metallic at the corner of my lip. Are you blind or just stupid? Her voice fills the room like a smoke alarm. High, shrill, every syllable weaponized. The room freezes. Freezes. Uncle Ray's beer bottle stops halfway to his mouth. Aunt Colleen's hand covers her daughter's eyes. A kid near the TV drops a crayon. The furnace kicks on and the sound of it is deafening because everything else has stopped. I straighten my head. I feel the heat spreading across my cheekbone. My left eye waters, not tears, just the body's reflex to being struck. I blink it away. I look at Vanessa. Her chest is heaving. Her hand is still raised, not to hit again, but because she hasn't decided what to do with it yet. Her eyes are wide, not with regret, with adrenaline. 25 people saw it. Not a single one of them speaks. The silence is so heavy I can hear the ice settling in someone's glass across the room. I can hear the clock on the mantel. I can hear my own heartbeat, thick and slow, like it's pumping through mud. I stand there. I don't raise my hand. I don't step back. I don't say a word. Because the next voice that breaks this silence will tell me everything I need to know about my family. Mom moves first. She crosses the room in 3 steps. I think, for one stupid, hopeful second, that she's coming to me. That she saw her daughter get slapped and she's going to do what mothers are supposed to do. She stops in front of me, looks me up and down. Her mouth is a thin line. Say sorry or get out now. She's talking to me. The words hit harder than the slap. I feel them land in my chest, somewhere behind the sternum, in the place where you keep the last shred of belief that your mother will choose you. She hit me, I say. You provoked her. You always do. I look at Dad. He's already standing. He doesn't say a word, not one word. He walks to the front door, opens it. The November wind rushes in, scattering a napkin off the side table. He stands there, hand on the knob, holding the door open like he's taking out the trash. Gerald, for God's sake! Aunt Ruthie starts from the corner. Dad doesn't look at her. He doesn't look at me. He looks at the floor. Vanessa is on the couch now. Her eyes are wet. Her lower lip trembles. Perfectly, precisely, the way it always does when she needs to be the victim. She walked into me on purpose, she whispers, just loud enough for the room. Mom turns back to me. This is my house. Apologize to your sister. I look at the open door. The porch light is on. I can see the driveway, my car, the road that leads to the turnpike, the 3 hours back to Hartford. I look at the room. 25 faces, some horrified, some uncomfortable, none of them stepping forward. The door is open. The choice is made, not by me, by them. I pick up my coat from the chair by the window. I take my keys from the hook by the door. I don't rush. I don't stumble. I walk like I'm leaving a conference room after a meeting that ran long. Aunt Ruthie stands up. Dad cuts her off with a look. Not a word, just a look. And she sits back down. Her face is red. Her hands are shaking. I pass Dad at the door. He's still holding it. His knuckles are white on the knob. I stop, just for a moment, close enough to smell the aftershave he's worn since I was 5. He doesn't look up. I step onto the porch. The cold hits my face, the same cheek Vanessa hit. It stings in a different way, a clean way. Behind me, the door closes. I hear the deadbolt turn. Click. I walk to my car. The gravel crunches. The driveway is full. 7 cars, maybe 8. Mine is at the end, near the road, because I was the last one to arrive. Fitting. I sit in the driver's seat. I don't start the engine. I put my hands on the wheel at 10 and 2. I look at the house. The windows glow warm and yellow. I can see shapes moving behind the curtains. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3. I start the car, pull out, turn left onto the county road. The house shrinks in the mirror, then disappears behind the tree line. 3 hours to Hartford. I don't turn on the radio. I don't call anyone. I don't cry. I just drive, and the lines on the road come one after another, and the dark fills the windshield, and somewhere past Scranton, my phone buzzes. Aunt Ruthie. I'm so sorry, honey. That was wrong. All of it. I read it at a red light. I don't respond. Not yet. I pull into my apartment complex at 11:14 p.m. The parking lot is quiet. A cat slinks under a dumpster. The air smells like frozen leaves. I sit in the car for a moment with the engine off, staring at the door to my building. Then I remember what Derek said. Check your mail. I walk to the cluster of mailboxes at the front entrance. Unit 4B. I turn the key and pull out 3 days' worth of envelopes. Junk, a credit card offer, a water bill, and one from the Fulton County Recorder's Office, postmarked 5 days ago. I tear it open under the parking lot light. It's a certified copy of a deed transfer. My parents' property. The document shows the transfer was recorded 3 weeks ago. My name, Bridget Sinclair, has been removed from the deed. A new name has been added, Vanessa Sinclair. At the bottom, 4 signatures. Gerald Sinclair, Donna Sinclair, Vanessa Sinclair. And a 4th, Bridget Sinclair. I stare at my name. My name, in handwriting that is not mine. The loops are too round. The S doesn't match. Someone signed my name on a legal document without my knowledge and without my consent. Someone forged my signature. I walk inside. I don't take off my coat. I sit at the kitchen table, open my laptop, and scan every page. Front, back, margins. I email the entire package to Marcus Webb with one line. They forged my signature. Call me in the morning. I sit in the dark. The apartment hums. The refrigerator clicks on. A car passes outside. At 8 a.m. sharp, my phone rings. Marcus. This is fraud. We file Monday. Monday morning. That's when everything changed. Monday. 9 a.m. I'm sitting across from Marcus in his office in downtown Hartford. He has reading glasses on and a file that's already thick. I pulled the records Friday night, he says. He doesn't look up from the papers. Your name was on the original deed as co-signer when the second mortgage was recorded 8 years ago. 3 weeks ago, a new deed was filed removing you and adding Vanessa Sinclair as co-owner. Without my signature. That's the thing. He slides a photocopy across the desk. There's a signature. It's just not yours. I look at it. The fake Bridget Sinclair stares back at me. Loopy, rushed. Nothing like my handwriting. There's more. Marcus takes off his glasses. After the deed transfer was recorded, someone opened a home equity line of credit, a HELOC, secured by the property. $85,000. The application lists Vanessa Sinclair as borrower. The bank approved it based on the equity your payments built. $85,000. Pulled from a house I've been paying for with money I earned. Where did the 85 go? I had a forensic accountant friend run a preliminary trace. Most of it went to a business account under Vanessa's nail salon. The rest paid off personal credit card debt in her name. I sit back. The chair creaks. Outside the window, Hartford traffic crawls through a cold December morning. Marcus, what are we looking at? He folds his hands on the desk. Forgery, real estate fraud, potentially identity-related crimes if she used your personal information on the application. In this state, forgery on a recorded instrument is a felony. Your sister forged your signature on a legal document, he says. That's a felony. The word sits in the room like a dropped plate. I nod. What do we do? Marcus drafts 3 cease and desist letters before lunch. 1 to Vanessa Sinclair. 1 to Gerald and Donna Sinclair. 1 to the bank that approved the HELOC. The language is clean, direct, and devastating. It demands immediate freeze on the HELOC, restoration of the original deed with my name, full accounting of all funds withdrawn, and notice that a criminal complaint will be filed if compliance isn't achieved within 15 days. 15 days, Marcus says. That's generous. While he prints the letters, I pull out my phone. I open my banking app. For 8 years, I've had automatic transfers set up, $1,200 a month to my parents' joint account, the mortgage payment on the second lien, a quarterly transfer to the salon's business account. I cancel them all, every single one. It takes 4 minutes, 8 years of financial support, erased with 6 taps on a screen. Marcus watches me from across the desk. You sure? They forged my name and stole my equity. I'm not funding that. He nods. Once we file the complaint with the county recorder, the deed transfer gets flagged. A lis pendens goes on the property. That's public notice of a legal dispute. Nobody can sell, transfer, or refinance until it's resolved. Will my parents face charges? Marcus leans back. They signed the deed under their own names. If they claim they didn't know about the forged signature, they'll need to show Vanessa misled them. Either way, someone is in legal trouble. I stare at the letters on his desk. 3 envelopes, 3 relationships detonated with 12 pages of legal language. I'm not punishing anyone, I say. I'm protecting myself. Marcus slides the envelopes into a FedEx mailer. That's exactly what you're doing. We shake hands. I drive back to my apartment. My phone is silent for the first time in months. It won't be silent for long. Wednesday, 5 days after Thanksgiving. My phone rings at 7:42 a.m. Mom. I almost don't answer. But I've been waiting for this call the way you wait for test results. Wanting to know, dreading to know. Bridget, something's wrong with the bank. Her voice is tight. Not angry yet. Confused. The payment didn't go through this month. There's no error, Mom. I canceled it. Silence. The kind that has weight. I can hear the kitchen clock ticking through the phone. I can hear Dad breathing somewhere nearby. What do you mean you canceled it? I mean I stopped paying for a house I no longer own. What are you talking about? Her voice pitches up. This is your family. A family that forged my signature and stole my equity. You'll be hearing from my attorney. The silence breaks. Mom's voice cracks open like ice on a pond. You ungrateful? After everything you've what, Mom? Name one thing. She can't. The pause stretches. I hear her breath catch. Then Dad takes the phone. His voice is low and tired, the way it always sounds when he's been drafted into a fight he'd rather watch from the recliner. Bridget, don't do this to your mother. I didn't do anything to her, Dad. Check who did. I hang up. I set the phone on the counter, screen down. It buzzes 14 times over the next 3 hours. Vanessa, Mom, Dad. Vanessa again. Derek once, Mom. Vanessa, Vanessa, Vanessa. I don't answer a single one. I make coffee. I eat toast. I sit at my kitchen table and watch the December sun crawl across the floor. And for the first time in 10 years, I don't feel the weight of that house on my back. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. Thursday. The FedEx arrives. I know because Vanessa calls me at 11:08 a.m. and she's crying. Not the theatrical crying she does for Mom. Real crying. The ugly kind. Wet and ragged and afraid. You can't do this to me. I'm your sister. You forged my name on a legal document. That's not a family matter, Vanessa. That's a crime. Mom and Dad told me to do it. They said you wouldn't care. I close my eyes. There it is. The blame shift. The same move she's been making since we were kids. Break something, then point at someone else. Then they can explain that to the court. Bridget, please. Please. I'll fix it. I'll put your name back. I'll close the HELOC. Just don't file. You had 3 weeks to fix it. You spent $85,000 of my equity instead. She makes a sound, half sob, half choke. For the first time in my life, I hear my sister stripped of her performance. No audience, no stage, just a woman who realized the safety net she's been standing on was made of someone else's money, and it's gone. You're going to destroy this family, she whispers. I didn't destroy it. I just stopped rebuilding it. I hang up. I open my laptop. I email Marcus one word. Proceed. Then I sit in my apartment and listen to the quiet. No more phone calls to screen. No more checks to write. No more potatoes to peel in a kitchen that doesn't want me. The quiet is strange. It's not peaceful. Not yet. It's the silence after a surgeon cuts the last stitch and before you know whether the patient will breathe on their own. But it's mine. For the first time in 16 years, the silence belongs to me. And here's where it gets real. Because everything I just told you, that was only the beginning. If this story is hitting close to home, if you've ever been the one holding everything together while everyone else takes credit, drop a comment right now. Tell me your story. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now is the time, because what happens next is the part nobody expected. Monday, 1 week after Thanksgiving, Marcus files the formal complaint with the Fulton County Recorder's Office. He doesn't rush it. He doesn't grandstand. He walks into the office at 9 a.m. with a manila folder, copies of the original deed showing my name, the the fraudulent deed transfer with the forged signature, bank statements proving 8 years of mortgage payments from my account, and a notarized affidavit from me confirming I never authorized the transfer. By noon, the county places a lease pendens on the property. That means the house is flagged in the public record. No one can sell it. No one can refinance it. No one can pull another line of credit against it. The property is frozen until the dispute is resolved. Marcus also sends formal notice to the bank that approved the HELOC. Under federal lending regulations, a lender must verify the identity and consent of all parties on a deed before issuing a secured credit line. They didn't. They approved $85,000 based on a forged signature. The bank's compliance office responds within 4 hours. The HELOC is suspended. Vanessa can no longer withdraw funds. Marcus calls me at 3. The county just froze the deed. Your sister can't touch that house. I'm sitting in my office. Through the glass wall, I can see my team working on a bid for a new hospital wing. Normal life. Real work. The kind of work where you build things instead of watching them get stolen. What happens next? I ask. We gave them 15 days to comply with the cease and desist. If they restore the deed and close the HELOC, this stays civil. If they don't, we go criminal. 15 days, 2 weeks, and a day. I thank Marcus. I hang up. I go back to my blueprints. The clock starts ticking. The dominoes start falling on day 3. Vanessa had been using the HELOC to cover her salon's operating costs. Rent, supplies, payroll for 3 employees. She wasn't just borrowing against the house, she was breathing through it. The HELOC was the only thing keeping the doors open. When the bank froze the line, the money stopped. No warning, no grace period, just a dead account and a landlord who wanted $12,000 by the 10th of the month. She couldn't pay. Of course she couldn't. She'd been running the salon at a loss for over a year. The gel line, the expansion plans, the stories she told at the Thanksgiving table, fiction, all of it. The salon was a sinking ship, and the HELOC was the bilge pump. The landlord posted a 10-day notice on the salon door, pay or vacate. I know all this because Derek texted me. One long message, sent at 2 a.m, full of typos and exhaustion. She used the HELOC for everything. Rent, credit cards, everything. She told me it was covered. I told her not to do the deed thing. She said if I said anything, she'd tell your parents I cheated. I didn't cheat. I just didn't fight hard enough. He ended with, "You stole from the one person keeping us afloat." That's what I told her. She threw a plate at me. I read the message twice. Then I put my phone down and went to bed. I didn't feel satisfied. I didn't feel vindicated. I felt the way you feel when a building you've been propping up with your own body finally collapses, relieved that you stepped away, but sick at the sound of it falling. Vanessa called me 6 times that week. I let everyone go to voicemail. Day 9. Gerald calls. I almost don't recognize his voice. It's thinner, older, like the last 10 days have added 10 years. "Bertie, this has gone too far." He hasn't called me Bertie since I was 12. The sound of it cracked something in my chest, something I thought I'd already broken clean. "Dad, she forged my signature. She made a mistake. People make mistakes. You held the door open for me, Dad, on Thanksgiving. You didn't say a word." Silence. I can hear the furnace through the phone. I can hear Mom's TV in the background, some game show with a too cheerful host. "I didn't know what to say," he says. "That's the problem. You never do." More silence. Then, carefully, like he's handling something fragile. "What do you want from us?" "I want the deed restored. I want the HELOC closed. And I want Vanessa to face the legal consequences of what she did. That's not revenge, Dad. That's the law." "She's your sister. She committed a felony against me. Being family doesn't change that." His breath shudders. It's the sound of a man who spent 65 years avoiding hard conversations, now standing at the edge of one he can't walk away from. "If you do this," he says, "your mother will never forgive you." I close my eyes. I see him at the door, hand on the knob, cold air flooding the room, his daughter's cheeks still red. He chose silence then. He's choosing negotiation now. Both are the same thing, avoiding the truth. "She hasn't forgiven me for leaving home at 18, Dad. I I think I'll survive. He hangs up. No goodbye. Just the click of a man who ran out of arguments he never had. I set the phone down and stare at the ceiling. 15 days, 6 left. Day 15. Deadline. Marcus sends a check-in email at 9 a.m. Any response from the other side? Nothing. No attorney contact, no compliance, no deed restoration, no HELOC closure. Nothing but silence and Vanessa's Facebook post from 3 days ago. Some people use money to control their family. I feel sorry for anyone who thinks love has a price tag. I screenshot it and forward it to Marcus. His reply, "She's building a narrative. We file tomorrow." And they do. The next morning, Marcus submits a criminal complaint to the district attorney's office. The charges: forgery of a recorded instrument and real estate fraud. Both felonies. The complaint includes the forged deed, bank records showing unauthorized HELOC draws, my affidavit, and a handwriting comparison prepared by a certified document examiner confirming the signature is not mine. The DA's office assigns a case number within 48 hours. I'm sitting in my car outside the office when Marcus calls with the update. December sky, bare trees, the heater running. "It's filed," he says. "The DA has it." "Okay. You okay?" I look out the windshield. A woman is walking into the building across the street, carrying coffee, scrolling her phone, living a Tuesday like it's nothing. I envy her for about 3 seconds. I gave them 15 days, I say. She gave me a slap and a forged signature. Marcus doesn't respond to that. He doesn't need to. I sit in the car for a few more minutes after we hang up. I think about Grandma May. I think about the promise I made to a woman who loved me enough to ask me to hold together a family that didn't deserve it. I kept them warm for 10 years. They burned the house down themselves. I pull out of the lot and drive to work. January. The DA's office opens a formal investigation. Vanessa is summoned for a deposition. She hires a lawyer. I don't know how she's paying for one, and I don't ask. Maybe Derek. Maybe a credit card. Maybe Mom pawned something. It's not my concern anymore. The salon is gone. The landlord changed the locks on December 22nd. 3 employees lost their jobs 2 days before Christmas. Vanessa posted a tearful Instagram story blaming unforeseen financial circumstances, which is a creative way to spell "I stole my sister's equity and it caught up with me." Derek moves out. He texts me once. "I should have said something sooner. I'm sorry." I believe him. Sorry doesn't rewind the clock, but at least he said it. On social media, Vanessa does what Vanessa does best. She performs. Being attacked by your own family during the holidays is a pain no one talks about. Some people can't stand to see others happy. Family should be about love, not lawyers. She never mentions the forgery. She never mentions the HELOC. She never mentions my name. But Aunt Ruthie does. Under one of Vanessa's posts, the one about family being about love, Ruthie writes a single comment. "Maybe tell the full story, Vanessa. All of it." Vanessa deletes it in 10 minutes, but screenshots travel. Ruthie tells me later that 3 relatives texted her asking what she meant. She told them the truth, simply, without drama. Derek confirms the rest. Quietly, through his own lawyer, he provides a chain of text messages between him and Vanessa, messages where she discussed the deed transfer, the forged signature, and her plan to open the HELOC before anyone noticed. He doesn't do it for me. He does it because Vanessa threatened to lie about him, and he'd rather tell the truth first. The walls close in, slowly, legally, completely. February. Mom calls one last time. I'm making dinner, pasta, garlic bread, a glass of wine. The phone rings, and when I see Mom on the screen, I set the spatula down and answer. I don't know why. Maybe because her voice, when she speaks, is different. Not commanding, not sharp, small. "I didn't know about the signature, Bridget. I swear." "But you knew I was paying for the house, and you told everyone it was Vanessa." Silence. I can hear her breathing. It sounds like the breathing of a woman who just climbed a flight of stairs she didn't know she'd have to climb. "I just wanted to keep her close," Mom says. "She's the only one who stayed." "I stayed too, Mom. I stayed for 10 years. You just didn't see me because I didn't live in your zip code." She cries. Real crying. The kind that doesn't perform. The kind that just leaks out because there's no more room to hold it. I listen. I don't comfort her. I don't say, it's okay because it isn't okay. But I don't twist the knife either. There's no point in cruelty. Cruelty is what they did to me. I hope you figure this out, Mom. But I can't be the one who fixes it anymore. Bridget, take care of yourself, Mom. I hang up. I go back to the stove. The pasta is slightly overcooked. I eat at the kitchen table. Alone. The apartment is quiet. The radiator ticks. Somewhere in Pennsylvania, my mother is sitting in a house she might lose, realizing that the daughter she dismissed for 20 years was the only one keeping the lights on. And the daughter she kept close was the one who set the fire. I wash my plate. I go to bed. I sleep better than I have in months. March. Aunt Ruthie drives up to visit me. She brings news in a casserole. Your father sits on the porch every morning now, she says, settling into my kitchen chair with a cup of decaf. Doesn't matter the weather, rain, frost, doesn't matter. He just sits there and stares at the road. He's always been quiet. This is different, honey. I asked him what he's thinking about. He said, I held the door open. I held it open for her to leave. I set my mug down. The coffee ripples. Ruthie reaches into her bag and pulls out an envelope. He asked me to bring you this. Wrote it by hand. Took him 3 days. I take the envelope. My name is on the front. Birdie. In Dad's careful, blocky handwriting. The man who never says what he feels put a stamp on it anyway. I open it later, after Ruthie leaves. It's 1 page. Blue ink on lined paper, the kind he'd tear from a legal pad. He writes that he's sorry. That he always knew I was the dependable one, the one who held things together, but he never said it because he thought I didn't need to hear it. He writes that he was wrong, that everyone needs to hear it. He writes that the night I walked out, he stood at that door for 10 minutes after I left, staring at the driveway, and he knew he'd made a mistake he couldn't undo with a sentence. At the bottom, you deserved better from me. I don't know if I can give it now, but I know I should have given it then. Inside the envelope, wrapped in a tissue, Grandma May's sapphire ring. He took it back from Vanessa. I hold the ring in my palm. It weighs almost nothing. It weighs everything. I put it in my nightstand drawer. I don't write back. Not yet. Small towns have long memories and short fences. When the lice pendants hit the public record, it became searchable. County records are online in Fulton County. Anyone can look them up. And in a town where everyone knows which family drives which truck and who owes what to whom, a legal flag on the Sinclair property is front-page news without ever hitting a newspaper. Aunt Ruthie tells me the whispers started at church. Someone from the county office mentioned it to someone else, who mentioned it to the organist, who mentioned it to Mom's friend Linda. Is everything okay with the house? Linda asked Mom after Sunday service. Mom didn't answer. She picked up her purse and left the fellowship hall without eating. The story pieces together itself. People remember things. They remember Bridget paying for the new roof, remember Bridget's name on the contractor's check for the kitchen. They remember Vanessa bragging about the salon while Bridget sat quiet at the end of the table. We always wondered how they afforded the new kitchen, one neighbor told Ruthie. Now we know. Vanessa's narrative, the Instagram posts, the victim performance, crumbles in the face of county records and community memory. You can delete a Facebook comment, but you can't delete a lis pendens. You can cry on social media, but you can't cry in front of a public filing. The town doesn't take sides, exactly. Small towns rarely do. But they stop asking Vanessa how the salon is doing. They stop telling Donna what a wonderful family she has. They just stop. And in a place where attention is currency, silence is bankruptcy. Mom stops going to church. Vanessa stops posting. Gerald keeps sitting on the porch. And 3 hours away, in Hartford, I go to work every morning and come home to an apartment that is quiet, small, and entirely mine. May. 6 months since Thanksgiving. The deed has been restored. My name is back. Not because I want ownership, but because the fraud had to be reversed before anything else could move forward. Once it's clean, I sell my share to my parents for $1. Marcus files the paperwork on a Tuesday afternoon. You sure about this? He asks, pen hovering. I don't want the house. I want out of it. $1. Not because the share is worthless. It's worth tens of thousands. but because I'm done paying for a seat at a table that was never set for me. The dollar is a period at the end of a very long sentence. Vanessa takes the plea deal in April. The DA offers probation, 2 years, supervised, plus full restitution of the $85,000 drawn from the HELOC. She doesn't have the money. She'll be paying it back in installments for the next decade, minimum. Her lawyer argues financial hardship. The judge doesn't seem moved. The salon is gone, permanently. Vanessa is working as a receptionist at a dentist's office in the next town over. Derek filed for divorce. The papers went through in March. Mom and Dad sell the 2-acre lot behind the house, the parcel Grandpa cleared in the 70s, for $45,000. It covers 6 months of mortgage payments. They won't lose the house, but the cushion is gone. The life they built on my labor has shrunk to fit the space they can actually afford. I don't contact them directly. Everything goes through Aunt Ruthie. I drive past the Ridgefield exit on the turnpike sometimes, on my way to job sites in central Pennsylvania. I don't take it. Not yet. But I don't close my eyes when I pass it either. It's a Saturday night. May, late. The apartment is quiet. I open my nightstand drawer. Gerald's letter is there, folded neatly. The sapphire ring is beside it, still wrapped in the tissue he sent. I take the ring out, hold it up to the lamp. The stone catches the light, deep blue, almost violet at the edges. The nick from the garden fence is still there. Grandma May never got it repaired. She said the flaw was part of the story. I slide it onto my right ring finger. It fits, perfectly. The way it always did when I was a kid pretending to be grown. Grandma May told me to keep them together. I tried. For 16 years I bent myself into the shape of that promise. I wrote checks. I swallowed insults. I stood in the back of the photo. I peeled the potatoes and took the seat by the door and drove 3 hours each way to be treated like a guest in a house I was paying for. But Grandma May didn't raise me to be a doormat. She raised me to be a bridge, someone who connects, who carries weight, who holds things up. She just didn't tell me that even bridges have weight limits. She said, keep them together. She didn't say, let them tear you apart. I think she'd understand. I think if she were sitting across from me right now, smelling like lavender and brown sugar, she'd take my hand and say, you did enough, Bertie. You did more than enough. I look at the ring. I look at the letter. I look out the window, the streetlight below, the empty sidewalk, the first warm night of the year. I smile. The first real smile in this whole story. Not because everything is fixed, because something is finally mine. The next weekend, Aunt Ruthie drives up again. This time she brings Grandma May's beef stew recipe, the one with the beer and the bay leaves, and a bottle of red wine she picked up at a gas station. Don't judge the label, she says, setting it on the counter. It was between this and a Slim Jim. We cook together. She stands at the stove stirring while I chop onions, and for a little while it's like being back in Grandma May's kitchen, 16 years and $1,000 ago. Your dad started seeing someone, Ruthie says, not looking up from the pot. A counselor, first time in his life. Good for him. Your mom hasn't gone. She's not blaming you anymore, but she's not ready to say the words. Which words? All of them. Ruthie shrugs. She's stubborn. You know that. I do. Vanessa and Derek, officially done. Papers signed last month. I nod. I don't feel happy about it. I don't feel sad. I feel the way you feel when a storm passes and you step outside and everything is wet and wrecked and still somehow lighter. Your dad misses you, Ruthie says. She finally looks at me. Her eyes are soft. He won't say it right, but he does. I know. But missing me isn't the same as respecting me. No, she says. It's not. We sit at my kitchen table with the stew and the gas station wine and we eat. The apartment is warm. The windows are fogged from the cooking. Ruthie doesn't give me advice. She doesn't tell me to forgive. She doesn't tell me to call. She just sits across from me and eats, the way Grandma May used to, present, steady, and quiet, in a way that says more than talking ever could. You did the right thing, Bertie, she says at the door. The hard thing and the right thing. So here I am, Bridget Sinclair, 38 years old, Director of Business Development, resident of a 1-bedroom apartment with a drafty window and a stove that clicks twice before it lights. I don't hate my family. I want you to hear that clearly. I don't hate them. My parents are flawed, frightened, human. My sister is selfish and desperate and small. My father is a good man who never learned to speak up. My mother is a scared woman who confused proximity with love. They're not monsters. They're just people who got used to taking from someone who never said no. Until she did. I used to think loyalty meant never walking away. That keeping a promise meant keeping yourself small so other people could stay comfortable. Grandma May asked me to hold this family together, and I thought that meant carrying all of it. The weight, the cost, the silence, the slap. Now I know. Loyalty to yourself is the first loyalty. Everything else comes after. You can love people and still refuse to let them destroy you. You can forgive without returning to the scene of the crime. You can sell your share for $1 and walk away richer than you've ever been. I don't know if I'll talk to my parents again. Maybe. Maybe at Christmas. Maybe next year. I'm not closing the door. But I'm not holding it open for people who've shown me what they do when they have the chance to walk through it. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is not fight. It's not yell. It's not prove anything to anyone. It's walk out the door, close it behind you, and build something that's yours. Grandma May would understand. I look at the ring on my finger. The sapphire catches the light. The nick in the setting winks at me, like a secret between us. I smile, and I mean it. That's my story. And if you're still here, thank you. That means more than you know. Now I have a question for you. Would you have walked out that Thanksgiving night? Or would you have stayed and fought? Drop your answer in the comments. I read every single one. And if this story reminded you of someone who needs to hear it, share it with them. Sometimes people need to hear that they're allowed to stop giving. If you want more stories like this, check the description. There's one there I think will hit just as hard. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.